Getting fit is great, but it could turn you into an alt-right conspiracy theorist. This is according to Zoe Williams over at The Guardian. Now, what I think is really interesting about these opinion pieces, anyone can share their opinion. I really don't care. But what I think is interesting is that the mainstream legacy media continues to promote this idea that getting fit and in shape and following the wellness trend is somehow going to turn you into a fascist. This is not the first story of its kind. Many people, including folks over at the Washington Post and other editorialists, if you will, at The Guardian, have been talking about how health and wellness and fitness is linked with alt-right ideas and fascism. Now, I think that's a major stretch. We know that people who embark on fitness just really do this to feel better. I know that's why you go to the gym. That's why you walk. You've realized that if you don't embark on these health-promoting activities, you just don't feel as well. And so that's why I promote them on this channel. That's why many of you embark on walking resistance training. You want to feel better. And when you feel better, you perform better. Mentally, you show up better for your family, your friends, your spouse, your partner, your business. I mean, that's why we promote health. It has nothing to do with politics. Now, what I think is quite interesting is many people on the left will say that if you focus on health, that you will become more right-wing. And what they're really trying to insinuate here, and I think the observation that they're implying, is when people become more healthy, they stop drinking fluoridated water. They get off the ultra-processed foods. They balance their sleep. They start meditating and have a spiritual or a stress reduction practice. They lift weights and transform their body. They're less likely to believe much of the garbage that is foisted upon us from the powers that be, whether it's The Guardian or whether it's CNN or the CDC. We are more skeptical of these ideas that have been foisted upon us for the past 50, 60 years. For example, back in the 1960s, we were told that fat was bad and we should then be consuming low-fat diets and eating more whole grains. 10 to up to 12 servings, the first, food pyramid recommended the bulk of your diet come from whole grains. Now, we've all seen how this experiment backfired in many unintended ways. We now see obesity rates in many states are north of 40%. The combination of overweight plus obese people here in the US is like 3/4 of our population. We are now seeing children that historically never got these adult onset diseases like type 2 diabetes, getting diabetes, insulin-dependent diabetics type 2 in childhood. We didn't learn about that in school. It was always called adult onset diabetes. We're seeing obesity in children. We are seeing dementia in people in their 40s and 50s. You didn't used to see this. We're seeing early onset cancers now. And this is the fastest growing segment of cancer diagnoses is in people under the age of 50. Yet you have activists like this, Zoe Williams, suggesting that if you go to the gym, that if you improve your body composition, you're going to become a fascist, an alt-right individual who, which is quite curious. We'll talk about fascism and the definitions here, but it's seemingly interesting that many people on the left that accuse people on the right of being fascist, they actually deploy fascist principles to the folks who disagree with their ideas. But that's neither here nor there. So she goes on to say that as you become more physically fit, the more self-righteous you become, blaming other people's problems on their failure to be as healthy as you. Zoe, that's not what we're saying. We're saying that if you want to feel good, act good, perform good, and prevent all these common conditions, the biggest business here in the US is healthcare, big pharma, hospitals. These are major contributors to greenhouse gases. And not only are they not really that efficient, but most people get sucked into this cog of this healthcare wheel and they just depend upon medications and doctor's visits and physical therapy and occupational therapy. And it's a mess. And so we're trying to encourage people to not be a cog in the healthcare ultra processed food wheel and to become healthier by way of lifestyle and nutrition interventions, which are much more sustainable. So that's what I suggest. Walking at least 8,000 steps per day, lifting weights 3 to 4 days per week, supplementing with protein, with creatine, with electrolytes, with vitamin D, and eating real food. I mean, these are the building blocks to preventing multiple non-communicable diseases such as obesity, autoimmunity, depression, diabetes, dementia, possibly cancer as well, but also just feeling good so that you can show up for the people that you care about most. You can learn, you can read, you can travel, you can just feel better without having to, be a cog in the healthcare wheel. What are your thoughts, my friends? I think this whole push to insinuate that if you become healthy, you're an alt-right fascist is just a major stretch from these activists. I think you guys are running out of content. I would focus on other things, like the things you said throughout COVID that were wrong, such as closing schools, gyms, fitness centers, and how there are unintended harms and consequences from all of these really bad ideas. Why don't we talk about that? Why don't we talk about other things? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. Also, if you were into exercise and you want to optimize your exercise sessions, check out the novel Creatine Enhanced Electrolyte Sticks by Myoscience. You get 2.5 grams of creatine plus salt, potassium, magnesium, taurine, as well as sodium in the real salt form. This is a great way to help to improve your exercise sessions and stay hydrated during the hot summer months. I will put the links in the description below to save, and you can use the code podcast over at myoscience.com. We'll catch you on a future video down the road.